Hello friends. In this video, we're going to discuss the 6-step checklist that you must go through anytime you are looking at purchasing a parcel of vacant land. There's so much confusion out there in terms of what you need to check off your list when you're going and reviewing a parcel of vacant land. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to make it a concise, easy framework that you can follow for every single property that you're looking at. Now, this is mainly going to pertain to land investors or land flippers. And if you're new to this channel, we've got tons of content on how you can start a land investing business. Now, if you're new here, my name is Sumner Healey. I run a company called landinvestor.co where we teach people to build wildly profitable land flipping businesses. In the last 18 months, I've sold a little over $2.2 million of raw land all on the internet. And ultimately, I make these videos to share my story and hopefully help others along the way. As of recent, we've been getting a ton of inquiries, whether it be through email or folks DMing us on social media, and they're sending us deals. They want us to partner with them, or they want us to review the deals. And quite frankly, I will not look at any of the deals until you have personally gone through this 6-step framework. If you have not gone through the 6-step framework, do not reach out to me, do not reach out to anyone until you've gone through this process. So you've got a hot deal that's hit your desk, maybe it came inbound, maybe it came outbound, you've been doing cold calling, you think you've got a good one. Well, the very first thing that you need to do before doing anything else is run comps on the property. You need to get some kind of general understanding of what the property is worth and ultimately what you can offer on the property. Now, maybe you're using blind offers and you've already made an offer on the property, or perhaps it was a neutral letter, or perhaps there was a cold call and price hasn't been discussed yet. The first thing you need to do is figure out what is roughly the value of this land. Now, how do we do that? Well, we go look at what's known as comparables. And in most cases, we're gonna be looking at sold comps. That means those are comparables, like-kind property that's in the same area that has sold recently. The more recent the sale, the better that comp is going to be, because obviously real estate markets change over time, and so you want to have it as close to the present as possible. The other thing that we want to look at is we want to make sure that's actually within proximity of the property. That means that a comp that's 20 miles away is less valuable to us than a comp that's half a mile away. I don't know about you guys, but I'm in the business of buying assets at a discount. So in order to do that, I've got to get a general understanding of what the property is worth, and then I can kind of back my math into that in terms of what I think I can offer on the property to get a deal that makes sense for our business and ultimately find that sweet spot where it also makes sense for the seller as well. All right, cool. Now we've confirmed that, hey, we know what the property is worth roughly. It's always an approximation. And then we also know roughly what we think we can offer for the property. And typically with our offers, we're going to work within a range. Hey, you know what? I think we can offer 20 to 30,000 bucks. Obviously, we'd like to be on the lower end, but we could inch our way up to 30K if we needed to. This will really help when you're negotiating with sellers, because you've got this kind of mental model in terms of where you can slide up and down to. And if it goes beyond that, it's not a deal. If it goes below that, well, hey, you're jumping up and down and you're excited. Now, the second point that you must verify is what we call legal access. And there's going to be a lot of deals out there that look like smoking hot deals, but there's no legal access to the property. Now, legal access comes in all different shapes and sizes. It can be through just having county road frontage. It can be having a private road that goes to the property. It can also be through a deeded easement. You need to verify, is there a way to actually legally access this property? Now, on top of that, we also want to figure out what we call the physical access. And so just because a property has legal access doesn't mean that physically accessing it is easy or even possible in some cases. So what do we mean by physical access? Well, perhaps the property does have a dirt road leading to it, and the dirt road gives access to the property, but no one drives on that dirt road. It's rutted out, it's hilly, it's, whatever it may be, like where it's damn near impossible to get to the property. We want to figure out, is it actually feasible for most people to get to this land? Now, again, we're coming to the table with the mentality of wanting to flip this property, and in order to flip the property, you need to get people out to the property to view the property. Now, if most people can't get to the property, you can see quickly how you have a problem in terms of reselling the property, even if the price is awesome. The third point is what we call topography. Now, this is going to be the natural undulation of the property. Topography comes in all different shapes and sizes. It could be hilly, it could be a valley, it could be flat and level. You want to verify how the property actually sits, and ultimately this is going to determine how much of the land is usable. This will also back into you figuring out the physical access as well, right? Maybe it does have a nice dirt road leading to it, but it's at a 45-degree angle up some crazy cliff. Not going to be very easy to get to. Now, topography is one of those things that in some cases it can actually work in your favor. Perhaps you have a property that is on a vista and it's got incredible views overlooking a valley. That kind of stuff is really going to help your case. More times than not though, what I find is flat is typically going to be the best. Especially when you're first starting out, dealing with flat land is going to be a whole heck of a lot easier. You're going to have your property appeal to a wider audience, but as you get more nuanced into this business, you'll start to understand that there are some variations in topography that buyers really do like. But I've seen so many deals that look good on the surface go sideways because the topography is just out of whack. The way we check the topography is we get the coordinates for the property, we'll plug that into Google Earth. That'll give us a pretty good understanding through a 3D rendering of how the property sits. Now, of course, nothing is as good as getting boots on the ground to view the property. So if it's a property where we're just not certain how it sits, Google Earth isn't telling us everything we need to know, or it's a very, very expensive purchase, we'll go send boots on the ground to go view the property before we actually close on it. They'll collect photos, videos for us, so we can actually recycle that content in our marketing once we close on the property. Think about it like killing two birds with one stone. Now, number 4 deals with floodplains or floodways, and this is actually really easy to verify. A lot of folks get hung up on this stuff. Here in the United States, FEMA has done a really good job documenting all of the flood zones, and so you can go take your coordinates or parcel number in some cases, go plug that into the FEMA flood maps. It'll tell you if the property is in a floodway, how much of the property is in a floodway, and what kind of flood zone it might actually be. Now, not all flood zones are created equal, so you need to be mindful of the different designations and what kind of flood zones are out there. It's standardized across the US. So if a property in Texas has an AE flood zone, a property in California has an AE flood zone, it's going to mean the same thing. Now, not all flood zones are deal breakers, and it's something to be mindful of, but you definitely want to verify if there is a flood zone. You also want to verify what kind of flood zone. And then on top of that, you need to figure out how the flood zone actually interacts with the property. Is the entire property in a flood zone? Is it a portion of the property? Now, ironically, some flood zones can actually help benefit the value of the property. You might be saying, what do you mean by that? Well, one of the biggest things that we see is buyers want properties that have bodies of water on them. And naturally, if land has a body of water on it, there's a risk that's going to be in a flood zone. So when we see properties that have small flood zones through the back of the property or maybe through the middle of the property, and it's not intersecting or taking over the entire lot, typically that can mean that there's a creek or a stream or even a river in some case running through the property, which can be a huge value add. So just because there is a flood zone in the property, it's certainly not a deal breaker. Really what we want to figure out is what kind of flood zone is it, and then how is it actually interacting with how the property sits. All right, number 5, title search. Boy, oh boy, do so many people get this wrong. So you've gone through the framework to verify that, hey, this is a quality piece of land at a quality price, and we think there's margin there for us to resell it, but you need to figure out, A, are you talking to the right person who actually has marketable title? And B, is the chain of title clean? As in, are there no clouds on the title? Now, the easiest way to do a title search is just use a title company, or if you're working in a closing attorney state, use a closing attorney. I can't stress this enough. It is one of the best things that you can do for your business to delegate and outsource the title search process, get a title insurance policy, and on top of that, you're gonna get the benefits of having escrow services. So the small fee that you pay for using a title company or closing attorney is worth its weight in gold. You'd be shocked how many properties out there in the US have clouded titles, and unless you're a professional title abstractor, that stuff can really get you lost in the weeds. I spent years in my business self-closing deals and doing title searches myself, and what I realized is A, I'm not very good at it, B, I don't like the liability, and C, I could make more money with my time if I go and spend that time going and acquiring more land, opposed to trying to figure out the title searches for every property that we're closing on. So simply put, I would advise going and actually hiring a title company for your closings. They'll give you a full title search, and on top of that, they're gonna give you a title insurance policy. It's slightly redundant, but think about it as an insurance policy covering the work that they had done on their due diligence for the chain of title. You can have the greatest deal in the world, but if it doesn't have marketable title and there's a cloud on the title, it's really gonna rain on your parade. Number 6. All right, guys, this is gonna be a little known secret in the world of land investing. Let me tell you something. Most people in this business don't use their own money to close on deals. I know, it's insane. Cat's out of the bag. So many folks get into this game thinking they need to have 50, 100, 150, 200, 500K to their name to get started in this business. The reality is that couldn't be farther from the truth. Now, yes, when you're first starting out, you do need to build a track record, but ultimately, once you have a track record, you can begin finding funding for your deals. Truth be told, this is an incredibly capital intensive business. When we look at the marketing costs, the data costs, when we look at the cost of having a team, we look at the cost of acquiring property, when we look at the cost of actually marketing that property, the costs stack up really quickly. Now, one of the easiest tasks you can get off your back is funding. Now, as you move up and you start doing bigger and bigger deals, it becomes easier and easier to find folks that want to fund your deals. Now, there's a whole bunch of different structures in terms of funding arrangements, and we're actually releasing a separate video that's going to cover all the ways you can get your deals funded, so be sure to subscribe. Now, simply put, Now, the most common structure is going to be what we call equity partnership. That means you have a deal, you find someone that wants to partner up, and you'll split the equity on the back end. For example, you can buy this property for $10,000. It looks like you can sell it for $30,000 to $35,000. Anything that you make over the investor's basis in the property, you guys will divvy up those funds. There's arrangements that look like 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20. There's a whole bunch of different arrangements out there. And so all of it's really negotiable with the money partner that you're working with. Now, when it comes to raising capital, raising funds, you must be very, very careful. I am certainly not an SEC attorney, so consult with an attorney before you go out there and start soliciting for funds. But with all that being said, it is one of the easiest levers you can pull in your business to force the growth of your business by going out there and finding funding partners who can fund the great deals which you're going out there and unearthing. We live in a world where there's more capital than opportunity. And so if you're someone who can create opportunities for folks to park their capital into, you will have money kicking down your door. But in order to do that, you need to go through the first 5 parts of that framework in order to verify that you've actually got a great deal. I see so many folks reaching out to me and other investors saying, hey, we want a JV with you, and they've done none of that research. Just know, if you ever send me one of those emails, I'm immediately going to delete it and I will not respond. Sorry. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is our 6-step framework for verifying that you actually have a quality deal. If you guys are looking to build your very own land investing business, our Land Investing Accelerator program goes live August 31st. This program teaches you exactly how to begin A, land investing, and B, actually build a land investing business. You see, there's so many folks in this space that just teach point A, but they don't show you how to build a real business. We've paired these two concepts together and created the only course in the space that actually teaches you not only how to land invest, but build a wildly profitable business that runs without your day-to-day involvement. If you guys are interested in that, the link is down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, I appreciate the support so much. Take care.